It all began with a single line of text on a dark web forum. "The Red Room is real, but once you enter, you can never leave." I'd been exploring the dark web for months, drawn by the allure of its secrets. I'd seen things that would make most people lose sleep: illegal marketplaces, disturbing videos, and forums where the worst of humanity gathered. But the Red Room was different. It wasn't just a place, it was a legend. A whispered nightmare among those who dared to dig too deep. The stories were always the same: a live stream, a countdown timer, and a room bathed in blood-red light. Some said it was a snuff film, others claimed it was a ritual, a gateway to something far worse. I told myself it was just a myth, a story meant to scare curious idiots like me. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. I found the link buried in a thread titled, "How to Access the Red Room." It was a string of random numbers and letters, but something about it felt wrong, like it was watching me. I hesitated, my cursor hovering over the link. "Do it," a voice in my head whispered. "You know you want to." I clicked it. The screen went black, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then, a single line of text appeared. "Welcome to the Red Room. Enter at your own risk." I pressed enter. The screen flickered, and suddenly, I was staring at a live feed. The room was small and dimly lit, bathed in a deep, blood-red glow. The walls were cracked and stained, and the floor was littered with things. Wires? Number. They were too thin, too organic. They looked like veins. In the center of the room was a chair. It was old, wooden, and covered in scratches. At first, it was empty. But then, the feed cut to a countdown timer, 001000. I didn't understand what I was watching, but I couldn't look away. The timer ticked down, second by second, and with each passing moment, the room seemed to grow darker, more oppressive. At 00800, the chair moved. It wasn't much, just a slight shift, but it was enough to make my heart skip a beat. I leaned closer to the screen, my breath fogging up the monitor. That's when I noticed the shadows. They didn't belong to anything in the room. They were too tall, too twisted, moving in ways that defied logic. At 00500, the feed glitched. The screen filled with static, and a voice crackled through my speakers. It was low, guttural, and barely human. "You shouldn't be here." I froze. The voice wasn't coming from the feed. It was coming from behind me. I spun around, but there was nothing there, just the empty darkness of my room. When I turned back to the screen, the chair was no longer empty. A figure sat there, slumped forward, its face hidden. It was dressed in tattered clothing, and its hands were bound with the same organic wires I'd seen on the floor. The countdown continued. 000300. The figure's head snapped up, and I screamed. Its face was a mask of agony, its eyes hollow and black. Blood dripped from its mouth, and its lips moved, forming words I couldn't hear. The shadows in the room began to writhe, reaching for the figure, pulling it into the darkness. The countdown hit 0. The screen went black, and for a moment, I thought it was over. But then, a single line of text appeared. "Your turn." My computer shut off. The lights in my room flickered and died, and in the darkness I heard it, the sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, moving closer. I tried to run, but something grabbed me. It was cold and wet, like the wires from the feed. They wrapped around my arms, my legs, pulling me to the ground. I screamed, but no sound came out. The last thing I saw before everything went black was the timer, glowing red in the corner of my vision. 001000. When I woke up, I was in the chair. The room was exactly as I'd seen it on the screen. Cracked walls, blood-stained floor, and that same oppressive red light. The shadows moved around me, whispering things I couldn't understand. And on the monitor in front of me, the countdown began again. 0010. 000. This time, I wasn't the one watching. I was the show. The descent begins. The timer ticked down, and I struggled against the wires binding me to the chair. They were alive, pulsing with a sickening rhythm. The shadows closed in, their whispers growing louder, more insistent. At 00800, the monitor flickered. A face appeared on the screen, a man, his eyes wide with terror. He was screaming, but no sound came out. Behind him, I saw the same room, the same chair. The shadows reached for him, pulling him into the darkness. At 000500, the feed cut to a new scene, a woman bound and gagged, her eyes pleading for help. The shadows took her too. I realized then what the Red Room was. It wasn't just a place. It was a cycle, a never-ending nightmare where the audience became the performers and the performers became the audience. At 000100, the monitor went black. The shadows stopped moving. The room fell silent. And then the door opened. A figure stepped inside, its face hidden by a mask. It carried a knife, its blade glinting in the red light. The timer hit 0. The figure raised the knife, and I closed my eyes. But the pain never came. When I opened my eyes, I was back in my room. My computer was on, the screen displaying a single line of text. Thank you for participating. See you soon. I thought it was over. I thought I was safe. But then I heard it, the sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, moving closer. And on my monitor, the countdown began again. 001000. And that's the story of how I found the Red Room, or how it found me. To this day, I don't know if what I experienced was real or just a twisted hallucination, but every night, when the lights go out, I hear it. The faint sound of footsteps, the whisper of shadows, and the glow of that countdown timer in the corner of my vision. If you ever come across a link to the Red Room, I beg you, don't click it. Some doors are better left unopened. But tell me, have you ever encountered something like this on the dark web? Or maybe you've heard stories that sent chills down your spine? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more terrifying tales from the darkest corners of the internet, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, so you never miss an upload. And remember, the next time you're alone in the dark and you hear something behind you, don't turn around. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.